impact use in the categories are allowed in the heavy industrial district. Fire was brought out. We will be installing fire sprinklers under this canopy. And so we will also have been working with the town on locating fire hydrants throughout this site. So we are aware of that and are working with that, but don't want that to certainly be a problem. As far as hours of operation, currently this property is zoned and does allow 24-hour operation. We're not proposing 24-hour operation, but currently 24-hour operation is a use by right. Chef Steel has run 3 shifts and operated 24 hours a day, and there are many other businesses in that industrial area that do operate 24 hours. Our stores right now, I think, are open 7:30, 8 o'clock to 5:30. That's why we asked for that window. We're not wanting to restrict ourselves, but we have no plans to run a 24-hour auto salvage facility. The next one is the wall location. There will be a wall along the front, and then the building will have a solid, because there's portions of the building in the front that are open. So we will have a wall all along the front, and I think Ashley did a good job at the very beginning of the presentation that there'll be a wall, and then there'll also be fences along the side. We have a contractor's yard on our north.
Sean, can you talk, when we talk about the wall here, are you bringing it back up? Is she bringing it up? Yeah. Can you kind of talk about height along each section of the wall of the facility?
Let me see if I can get the mouse. Does the mouse show?
Yep, it is.
Okay, so the wall, let me get my bearings. The wall comes in along here at this location. We have a perimeter fence. We've got a contractor's yard on our north and a steel fabricator on our south, and other heavy industrial users. And we've got fences that go along there. But the wall that we're talking about, this solid screen wall that would be visible to the public along Cooper, would go along here. There we go again. Start at our north property line, run down along here, and then down along here, and then there'd be a gate, a 10-foot gate here at this driveway. And then we're along the front of the building, we're putting in, we're enclosing that area with both the structure and walls, a 10-foot wall as well, where the office building is not located. And then there would be a gate along our south here driveway property line as well. So anything that's visible to the public would be screened behind a 10-foot solid wall.
What about to the north?
To the north is a contractor's yard. We have a fence in between the two of us.
It's already existing.
It's already existing.
Correct. And along the...
And then along our south side, there's that would be one where we're putting one in between us and Weinberger as well.
And then along the train tracks?
And then along the train tracks, I believe there's a fence along that side as well, existing.
So that wouldn't change, whatever's existing.
Existing.
Yep, thank you.
Let me just go back. Let's see if I covered everything. Wall location. As far as dust control, it was talked about or brought up in what's going to be in the backyard. We will have where the cars are stored in the back. First, let me clarify something. There's not 13,000 vehicles stored on site. I don't know where that number came from. We estimate we've got enough spaces for about 1,500 stored vehicles. 1,500 stored vehicles. I don't know where 13,000 came from, so I can't speak to that. But that's what we estimate. And in the back where we'll be storing those roughly 13 to 15, 14, what number did I write down? 1,500 cars, stored vehicles roughly in the back. Will be stored on crushed asphalt area for dust control, but the drive aisles and the fire lanes will be asphalt, solid surfaces, so that we don't create any dust in the back at all. I think that addresses the comments that I had notes down.
Okay.
Happy to.
Any questions from the commission? I'll ask the first one. What about a car crusher?
Yes, we will have a car compactor inside the building. What that does is, rather than haul out a flatbed semi-trailer with, say, 4 cars on it, we're able to put 2 to 3 times as many by compacting that car. I've been out, I've seen the car compactor. It's an electric motor or some are run by electric motors. So what happens is we load the vehicles in there, and then electric motor, a diesel motor about the size of a Volkswagen Jetta, will then compact it like you would have many of us had a trash compactor in our homes in the day. It's not what you saw in the old movies where they just pound it by sheer gravity. This is actual hydraulics that used to compress the cars.
How many do you think you'll have on site? One, okay. And it'll be underneath the canopy?
Underneath the canopy.
Thank you, sir. And that'll be only operated during the hours of operation?
Correct.
Thank you.
And what that does is it allows us to put more vehicles on the trucks that carry away so that we put less trucks on the roadway.
Okay. Other questions from the commission? Vice Chair, sorry.
There was a comment that was brought up by the first presenter, and she made a comment that you weren't tying into town sewer, that you have a septic tank on site. Is that true? And if so, what's the purpose of the septic tank?
Chairman, Commissioner, we have a septic system that is fully functioning and operational on site, and we will be utilizing that septic system.
And that's just for common sewer use from the building?
It would be from the, we've got a couple of toilets and a sink in the office building, very limited wastewater that will be generated from this facility.
Any oil interceptors that would be in line with that?
We would have to comply with all of those, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the commission for the applicant? Commissioner Ayler?
Thank you, Chairman. So I guess getting to the question of stacking cars and parts, other facilities in the neighborhood have seen it being done. Are you proposing to do that?
Chairman, Commission Member Ayler, we will not stack cars in the yard, and I made that clear. Now, we will stack cars to load them on the trucks to haul them away, but those are those compacted cars that you know, get down to about something about that size, and we will stack them on the flatbed. But we won't stack cars in the yard, and so they won't be visible from the street.
So stacking them when they're compacted, since you have a 10-foot wall in essence and then open air, are you going to, no parts or cars would be visible from that 10-foot other than the operation of, I see that's taller than 10 foot, so for the screening.
Correct. Keep in mind, we're a football field and a half or more away from Cooper. So if you're standing right next to the building, there might be some area where you're going to see operations happening, but we're not going to be stacking cars or anything above that wall. You're not going to see anything from the street.
Okay, so the racking of the parts, they're not going to go 20 feet up in the air.
No.
The racking will stay under that 10.
We might be 10, 12 feet on racking, but 12 feet on racking when you're 300 to 400 feet away from the sidewalk, I don't know how you're not going to see that behind a 10-foot wall.
And the racking's underneath the awning, correct?
Racking is all
Not in the
underneath
open air.
under the building.
Okay.
Okay. And then I guess if there's an ultimate question of hours of operation, I know you'd like to leave it open-ended and as controlled to the use right now, but we're looking at a use permit. So if you were to put a control, are you looking to 6 to 6 or?
That's where we're operating 6 to 6. But like the operation to the north, Weinberger, that was not restricted to hours of operation, that's what we're proposing to do. None of our operations that we operate elsewhere in the valley have that, but we don't think it's